Hey, you, put that down. No, not that. That. Yeah, put it down, right? Overeating, okay? Everybody kind of struggles with it from time to time. I think, okay, can't quite be entirely sure, but it seems to be pretty common, okay? Or at least if you're looking for these types of videos, you're probably looking for reasons why you're overeating, how you can stop overeating, and what's so bad about overeating. Well, okay, it's one of those things that just kind of pops up in the Western decadent society that's out there. And I know I don't want to use all of those fancy, catchy words that are out there, but it's a problem in the places where excess is popular and excess is abundant. Abundancy. I know, a grammatical nightmare, but whatever. So what's the downside? Okay, because there's a lot of things that your mind can rationalize. Oh, well, I just binge just certain times. Okay, I don't do it all the time. I just have my cheat day. Okay, and then your cheat day turns into a cheat weekend or a cheat week. And then all of a sudden you just realize that, yeah, you're just eating boxes and boxes and bags of stuff. Okay, does that happen? I'm sure it does. So for many of us, eating particular foods can be comforting. Pick me up during a hard task, a reward for a long day of work, and a satisfying end to a lovely dinner. But some people have a compulsive and uncontrolled urge to eat particular foods, but then again, they'd be compulsive in different areas. So this is just how their addiction or that certain part of the brain is manifesting itself. So yeah, compulsion to eat particular foods, especially hyper-palatable junk foods. This can impact their day-to-day functioning, along with their ability to fulfill social, work, and family roles, and then also not fulfill a door frame. People who struggle with addictive eating may have intense cravings, which don't relate to hunger, as well as increased levels of tolerance for large quantities of foods and feelings of withdrawal. That sounds terrible. Rather than hunger, these cravings may be prompted by low mood, mental illness, depression and anxiety, high levels of stress, or heightened emotions. Food addiction or addictive eating isn't yet a disorder that can be diagnosed in a clinical setting. Again, it's one of those things that's debated like many other controversial addictions that are out there, okay? Like whether or not alcoholism or, drug addiction is a disease. It's like, okay, if you're overeating, is that really an addiction? It's like, it's tough to suss out, but it's a problem for some people, and it's very obvious and noticeable. These health providers generally acknowledge their patients' addictive eating behaviors, but may be unsure of suitable treatments. Yeah, mostly because that's just one of the symptoms, and more importantly, it's just something that's underlying that, like a deep unsatisfaction with themselves. How common is it? Many factors contribute to overeating. An abundance of fast food, junk food, advertising, and the highly palatable ingredients of many processed foods can prompt us to eat whether we are hungry or not. Yeah, exactly. The dopamine rush that gets flunked out by just eating something that's chemically laced in order to properly stimulate the taste buds. I think that might have something to do with it. However, some people report a lack of control over their eating and are seeking help for this. Around 1 in 6 people report addictive patterns of eating and addictive behaviors around food. But then again, if you look at all of those studies, okay, you're like, I remember this when I was going through college, okay, for my personal training stuff. It's like, okay, patterned and addictive behaviors, it's very broad. It's like, okay, after work, okay, imagine that you just go out and every Thursday or Friday, you go out with your friends and you have something to drink, okay? You go out and you go for a wing night with coworkers at work or whatever other cliched hack situation you'd find yourself in, okay? By the letter of the law, if you go out every week, that's addictive behavior, that's patterned behavior, and that can lead you down a road, and then that qualifies and quantifies. So again, without going into the report, which we could, but I don't really care. I just want to give everybody the general overview of how broad this stuff can be. Just to let you know, okay? While food addiction is higher among people with obesity and mental health conditions, imagine that. It only affects a subset of these groups. Yes, because sometimes it's a glandular problem. How can you tell if you have a problem? Oh, I don't know, if it starts to affect other aspects of your life. I think that is probably a pretty easy telltale sign. Typically, food addiction occurs with foods that are highly palatable, processed, and high combinations of energy, fat, salt, and sugar, while being low in nutritional value. Exactly. Anything that you might be associating with as a treat, as a reward. And this is something that triggers a different part of your brain, okay? Might include chocolates, confectionery, takeaway foods, and baked products. These are the foods that are associated with high levels of reward and may therefore preoccupy your thoughts. Exactly. Or you might just trick yourself into thinking it as well. They might elevate your mood or provide a distraction from anxious or traumatic thoughts, and over time, you may need to eat more of those foods to get the same feeling, just like a regular addict would. 2 glasses of vodka might not do it for you. Now you just start to move up to 6, or I'm such an idiot when it comes to booze. I don't know if that would kill you or not, but eventually, yeah, tolerance gets built up, okay? That's just a fact of life, okay? Not every meth head's out there. Can't finish that analogy on this channel. There is an ongoing debate about whether it is components of food that are addictive or the behaviors of eating themselves that is addictive, or a combination of the two. I would say probably ranking those in order. I would say components, combination, and then the eating itself, the repetitious nature, okay? Like if you know you're going to binge, you set aside a certain amount of time, okay? You do it right after dinner, okay? You do it in the evening, you have a big lunch, something like that. That would make sense. It often starts in childhood. Just like everything else, this couldn't necessarily be specific to overeating. Though our research exploring the experiences of adults, we found that many people with addictive eating attribute their behaviors to experiences that occurred in childhood. I eat because I was bullied. No, you didn't. These events are highly varied. They range from traumatic events that use dieting or restrictive eating practices, or are related to a poor body image or body dissatisfaction. Our latest research found addictive eating in teenagers is associated with poorer quality of life and lower self-esteem, as it appears to increase in severity over time. Children and adolescents tend to have fewer addictive eating behaviors or symptoms than adults, or the 11 symptoms of the Yale Food Addiction Scale. Children and adolescents generally only have 2 or 3, while adults can have 6 or more, which is classified as severe food addiction. But again, I thought you can't be diagnosed with food addiction. Anyways, how is it treated? You just you see anybody with a donut in your hand and you just knock it out of it. Anyways, large range of treatments have been trialed. These include passive approaches such as yelling at fat people. Oh, I'm sorry, body shape. No, wait a minute. Self-help support groups and medications. What? No. Called exercise, fat ass. Which target hormones involved in hunger and appetite. There's also the bariatric surgery if you've just given up on life, which most common procedure in Australia is gastric banding. Oi, keep getting caught down and raped by dingoes. Get caught up by a kangaroo and they put me in a pouch, but I just rip him and fall out. However, few of the available self-help support groups include involvement or input from quality health professionals. Yep, just grifters. Always watch out for grifters. While providing peer support, these are not based on the best available evidence, and few evaluated for effectiveness. Exactly. Medications and bariatric surgery do involve health professionals' input, but have been shown to be effective in achieving weight loss and reducing symptoms of food addiction in some people. Yeah, the ones who have hit rock bottom and want an actual change. However, some of these might not be suitable for some people, such as those with a healthy weight range or with complex underlying health conditions. Yep. There's also critical people receiving medications and surgeries are counseled to make diet and other lifestyle changes, as you should. So what do they recommend here, okay, or what are they working on? Because I don't find anything that's necessarily useful there. As somebody who has lost just about 200 pounds, okay, and has kept it off for over a decade at this point. Wow, I haven't even stopped to really think about that. Anyways, we are also creating new holistic approaches to manage addictive eating. We recently trialed an online intervention tailored to individual personalities. Okay, this seems a little bit more targeted. Okay, but how much does it cost? Delivered by dietitians. Okay. And based on behavior change research, participants in the trial received personalized feedback about the symptoms of addictive eating, diet, physical activity, and sleep, and formulated goals, distraction lists, and plans for mindfulness, contributing to an overall action plan. After 3 months, participants reported the program as acceptable and feasible. The next step in a research trial is the treatment for effectiveness. Yeah, seeing if they can keep off the weight and see if they can stop falling back into the old patterns. It's a reason why I've got a big old playlist on the channel of dialing in the mindset, okay, making yourself move out of those old patterns that you might have found yourself falling into while you're just being a self-described loser, because who gives a crap what everybody else thinks? It's about what you think of yourself. And if you find yourself falling into the overeating category, the patterned eating, the food addiction side of things, see if there are certain areas that are contributing to that behavior. If it's a reward system for yourself, if it's just a pattern that you find yourself in, see if there are different areas that you can approach, see if there are different changes you can make in your life, and see before you start taking barbaric means such as medication or even a super invasive surgery, okay? And again, reach out if you find yourself in any of those situations, because there are things that I've studied and there are things that I've experienced in order to make a little bit more of an informed decision before you start going off the deep end. But anyways, with that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.